In today's video, how I went from this to this using only walking. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com. In today's video, I'm going to break down my exact plan for how I went from out of shape to shredded using only walking, and I'm going to give you 3 exact pieces of advice that I would suggest using on how to use walking to reach 10% body fat or getting shredded or whatever goal you have, because I love answering you guys' questions. So if you want me to answer one of your questions, go to my Instagram, send me a direct message, and we'll discuss it. Now today's video is coming to you live from the ProPhysique studio here in Tampa, Florida. So what I'm going to explain to you is my exact method, how I use that machine right there, a cardio treadmill, to get shredded and reach my 10% goal of body fat. I'm going to give you the exact tips that I use to get there. And if you like information that is research-based, that is anecdote-based on lots of experience, well, hit subscribe. That's what I love to do here on my channel. All right, guys, so I don't want to get too far off topic when it comes to using walking, because I want this to be very specific. So if you're not understanding what happens when we create a caloric deficit, that's a whole other topic, okay, guys? You need to understand where your calories are at. You can't just walk, have no idea where your calories are at, and expect to make progress, okay? But if you keep everything else the same and add activity to your protocol, you will see changes to body composition. A lot of people think of the word as cardio as a bad word, like, oh, you don't want to do too much cardio. But if I told you that just going for a walk outside was cardio, well, that changes things. We can use cardio to enjoy the day, enjoy the weather, spend time with friends, have a conversation, have a phone call, whatever it might be, just enjoy nature, go for hikes. That is walking. So here is step 1 of the process of getting shredded or getting leaner using walking. The first step is just start tracking your daily step count. That's right. I was astonished back in 2018 when I started tracking my daily step count. Now I had an office at home, so my literal only walking was anything I did with my kids outside of work hours. I would sometimes get less than 5,000 steps a day, and that included training in the gym. So first thing we need to do is track our daily steps. Then you can be intentional about, hey, I'm gonna try to reach a 10,000 step goal. Okay, that is a very nice goal. The first thing I did when I wanted to start using more walking to get lean was I simply started getting up every day and going for a half-hour walk around my neighborhood. That's how I started my day. I would wake up, put my shoes on, go for a half-hour walk, come inside, start working, make breakfast, whatever it might be, but that's how I started. That's how I got those initial first few pounds off. But how do you proceed from there? Also, guys, as a reminder, I want you to know I have a free calorie calculator on my website, which I'm gonna link below, that can give you your calories for, let's say, fat loss, muscle building, extreme fat loss. And I also have a free beginner's guide that includes workouts, cardio, training, how to find a gym, how to execute, how to hit your goals. I also have a free guide on flexible dieting. So lots of free stuff. Look at the links below, guys, if you need any free information. All right, guys, so tip number 2 for using walking to getting shredded is actually that you start to adjust your amount of time that you're walking or the intensity that you're walking, okay? So if we think of walking as going for a leisurely stroll outside and you walk for 30 minutes, well, that is a very set amount of calories you're gonna burn, right? It's not gonna go up and down much. However, if I told you to go for a leisurely stroll versus going for a brisk walk, well, that could definitely change things. So the second thing that I did with my morning walks was I went from a leisurely stroll to a brisk walk. Then I went from a brisk walk to longer brisk walks, and I started walking for up to an hour outside. So tip 2 is simply to start adjusting the amount of time that you're walking per day, breaking it up if you need to. Walking is walking, so you can do it in a mall, you can do it at your house, you can do it on a treadmill, just like that one there. That's actually gonna lead us to tip number 3. So my final tip is actually going to relate to the question that this gentleman asked me on my Instagram direct message, and he said, why do you recommend incline level of 7 when starting out on a treadmill? Well, first thing you have to understand is that creating an incline is just a way of changing the intensity of the walk. So by walking outside, I live in Florida, it's very flat, there are no hills. However, if you're walking outside in Colorado, you might be walking on some steep hills. If you can add in hills to your walking, that's going to increase the intensity. It's going to increase the amount of calories you burn in the same amount of time versus someone that walks on a flat. So when I think of an incline treadmill at a level 7, a level 5, a level 3, These are all just settings as a way to increase the intensity. Now, if you want to burn the most amount of calories in the shortest amount of time on a treadmill, you would set it to the top of its incline and walk as fast as you possibly can without leaning on the machine. Never touching the machine, maybe to get your balance. But the goal with burning more calories should be, we want to basically start walking and see what the least amount of walking we need to do is to burn calories to lose body fat. You simply from there can increase the time, increase the intensity, and then you're going to be burning more calories in the same amount of time. Likewise, if you want to go from walking to running, if you walk for 30 minutes versus running for 30 minutes, you will burn more calories doing the running. However, there are some problems with running, which I've discussed in a video called Why Walking is Better Than Running for Fat Loss. But if we're just comparing the amount of time that we walk to run, you're going to burn more calories when you're running. So that's all we're trying to do with the incline treadmill, is create a setting that allows us to burn more calories in the same amount of time, or increase our caloric deficit. Now, for anyone that says walking is not intense enough for you to get lean, I promise you, you haven't actually used this treadmill properly. Now, the real reason I really encourage people to use the treadmill is because it's not difficult. It's easy to recover from. It's low stress. I look forward to my time on the treadmill. Now, I've only been on here for a few minutes, maybe a little over a minute. I can already feel myself breathing deeper. I can already feel my body temperature rising. That's really the goal that we're going for here. So if you're finding these leisurely strolls on the treadmill aren't getting it done, guys, bump it up. Now, my treadmill says I'm burning about 546 calories. Now, am I actually burning 546 calories per hour on this treadmill? I don't care. That number is rather arbitrary to me. That only tells me that the intensity of the session is set. So if we're just talking about calories burned on a piece of cardio equipment, I've covered this in many videos. The research shows that those calibrations can be way off. What I use that for is a measure of saying, hey, I've been doing my cardio sessions for 30 minutes. I've been setting it at 400 calories burned for 30 minutes. I'm going to bump it up to 450 calories burned per 30 minutes. Or I'm going to increase the time. There's other measures and ways to increase your caloric deficit. Now, the next logical question is, if you can burn that many calories walking, what does high intensity cardio do? Well, certainly you're going to burn more calories in the same amount of time during a high intensity session. However, high intensity cardio done properly is really hard to recover from. You're probably going to have some sore muscles. There's really no recovery when it comes to walking, okay? Assuming you're a healthy individual, you can walk with as much frequency as you would like. And we can get to our goals in a seemingly effortless fashion because you're just walking. And you can incorporate this into your daily life. So look at ways of doing this. One of my favorite things that I've done is purchased a treadmill for my house. All right, guys, that's gonna be it. Hit subscribe if you enjoyed today's video, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.